Hello friends, welcome back to Technique. Today we'll be doing the camera review of the new Oppo Reno 10. So Oppo Reno 10 series comes with three devices: the Oppo Reno 10 Pro Plus, the Oppo Reno 10 Pro, and the base Oppo Reno 10. So this device is priced around 32,999, and this comes with the Dimensity 7050 chip, and you get a triple camera setup. This time around we have a telephoto lens. That's one of the specialities of this device. So you get a telephoto lens on this device. Along with that you get the 64 megapixel primary sensor as well. So how good is the camera experience on this device? Generally Reno phones have pretty good camera experience. So let's find out how good the camera experience is on the Oppo Reno 10. So let's begin. Before that, if this is your first time on this channel, do hit that red subscribe button and also hit the bell icon to get notified of all the videos we publish. So let's begin. First, let's have a look at the camera hardware on the Oppo Reno 10. So the primary camera is a 64 megapixel omnivision sensor, and it comes with f1.7 aperture. Now the secondary camera is a telephoto lens. It's a 32 megapixel Sony IMX709 sensor, and it has 2x optical zoom, and it can be used for portraits. Now the third camera is an 8 megapixel ultra wide. Once again it's a Sony IMX355 sensor. So the triple camera setup: primary is omnivision, secondary and third cameras are Sony's IMX sensors. That's kind of surprising actually. Generally the primary sensor gets the more importance. The omnivision sensor is the one which we have here, while the secondary and third are Sony sensors. Now on the front camera you get once again a 32 megapixel selfie camera. Once again it's an omnivision sensor, f2.4 aperture. So let's find out how good the camera samples are from the Oppo Reno 10, which is known as a portrait expert. So let's begin. And looking at the daylight captures, you can see here there is good amount of details. Colors are also quite done well, and there is dynamic range as well, which is quite good. Now talking about the sharpness levels and overall quality, I would say it's not the best out there. Primary reason could be the omnivision sensor, which isn't that great actually. Apart from that, the ISP of the Dimensity 7050 isn't that impressive, at least in the processing of the Oppo Reno 10, which should have been better actually, considering the price segment of around 33k. The primary camera should have been definitely better, but nevertheless it doesn't disappoint. But if you are a camera enthusiast, this might not be the best option out there. Now the ultra wide angle camera, the 8 megapixel shooter, also does quite a decent job. The colors are once again good. The detailing is also good, but again the sharpness levels are not so impressive. Again, an 8 megapixel shooter doesn't do that great job, but quite okay I would say. Now looking at the 2x telephoto lens, is a Sony IMX709 sensor, and it does pretty good job. In fact, this is better than the primary camera in terms of sharpness levels, detailing and color. So this is one area where Oppo has done pretty good job. Now if you look at the close-up shots, again it's quite good in terms of detailing and sharpness. Colors are also quite good, and overall it does a decent job altogether in terms of close-up shot. There is no macro camera on this. We tried shooting with ultra wide and the telephoto, but not to the extent of macro photography. Now the 2x telephoto lens does a pretty good job. It's pretty impressive actually. The detailing, the skin tones are good, the background blur is good, the edge detection is excellent. There are plenty of portrait options. Typically you see on the Reno series, the flare bokeh option, all those things are there, and the portraits are definitely good on this device. That's definitely one of the strong points of the Oppo Reno 10. Now moving on to the low light. In indoor light, or where there is a slightly lower light or artificial light, you can see that details are good, but again the sharpness level isn't impressive. Once again the primary camera disappoints slightly here. You can also see that there is noise levels in low light. Now when it comes to extreme low light also, you can see here the images are soft and smudgy looking, and there isn't a lot of details available. This is kind of surprising considering that Reno series is quite well known for low light photography as well. But here I would say the 2x telephoto lens does a better job. Here you can see here much better sharpness levels and much better details than the primary camera. So that was the low light experience. Probably I would say the primary camera isn't that great on this device, while the telephoto lens does a pretty good job. Now moving on to the selfies. Now 32 megapixel selfie camera does a quite good job. You can see here colors are good, the skin tones is good, the dynamic range is also quite good, the sharpness levels are once again good. Again you can see here it's a very wide angle selfie, so you can take pretty good group selfies as well. So selfie camera is again a personal choice. You can judge how good the quality is. I would personally say it's good. Now the portrait selfies also come pretty good, although there is a bit of artificiality in the portrait selfies. Nevertheless it does a quite good job here. So what do you guys best thing about the selfies on this device. Now moving on to the video recording, the 4K 30 FPS video is a way too saturated and kind of unusable, I would say, and there is no stabilization offer. So you can see here, this is the 4K 30 FPS, there is no 4K 60 FPS, which is missing here, probably because of the lack of availability on this processor. So the 4K 30 FPS video is kind of average. Now the 60 FPS video has stabilization, but there is a focus hunting issue here. And also you can see here, stabilization isn't very smooth, colors are much better, dynamic range is also quite okay, but there is a focus hunting issue here. Now the 1080p at 30 fps video also is quite decent. The stabilization is much better, but once again there is a bit of focus hunting issue. So overall I would say video quality isn't impressive. Now this is the 2x telephoto lens which takes 4K videos. Once again you can also see that colors are way too boosted and stabilization doesn't work that well on the 2x telephoto lens. Now this is the 1080p 30 fps video taken using the telephoto lens. Once again stabilization is better than the 4K video, but I would say this is kind of average video quality considering the price segment. Now the 1080p video taken using the ultra wide angle camera is also kind of average, I would say, but the stabilization works pretty well. The colors are tuned much better than the 4K video, but overall quality is decent. So this is the full HD video sample taken using the Oppo Reno 10. This can record videos in 1080p resolution. There is stabilization support available, so you can judge yourself how good the clarity of the video is and also the audio output from the camera sample. Summing up, how good is the camera on the Reno 10? Now, Oppo Reno series are typically known for pretty good camera experience. So we are not really sure about how the performance of the camera is on the Reno 10 Pro Plus and the Pro variant. We have not received that variant, so we can't judge that. The Reno 10 with the telephoto lens, we would say it's kind of slightly disappointing experience, to be very frank, because the primary camera, the 64 megapixel omnivision sensor, was not that great, but the telephoto lens is definitely good. It's a 2x optical zoom which does pretty good portraits, pretty good low light, and even good daylight captures as well. But the primary camera is kind of average, I would say. The detail and sharpness levels are not so great. Probably two reasons, I'm not very sure, but probably two reasons. One is the omnivision 64 megapixel shooter isn't that impressive, and second reason is probably the ISP of the Dimensity 7050 is not that great. That's my random guess, probably. And the third, ultra wide angle camera does a decent job considering how the ultra wide angle cameras perform in this segment. Now the selfies are good, video recording pretty much average, I would say. Focus hunting issues, stabilization is not done well. So as a whole, we would say the camera is slightly disappointing, to be very frank. We expected a bit more performance from the base Reno 10 variant, although it has telephoto lens, one of the really rare features you see in the 33 price segment. But the overall camera setup definitely needs an update to fix these issues. So until then, we would say it's not the best camera out there, but if you want or if you rather take a lot of portraits, or you want the telephoto lens, then probably this is one option available in this price segment. So that was our camera review of the Oppo Reno 10. Hope you enjoyed watching this video. Do hit that like button and also hit the subscribe button for more videos. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you in our next video. Have a great day.